With 200 3D printers, Voodoo Manufacturing in Brooklyn can mass produce everything from plastic machine parts to corporate swag. But there's one thing they won't do.
We will not print any weapons or firearms.
Co-founder Jonathan Schwartz broke that policy for CBC today to show us just how easy it is to print a 3D gun.
After probably a couple hours of printing and getting these parts to fit together, you could have a working firearm.
It's untraceable, and aside from an optional metal insert, it's made from the same material as Lego.
If you were to walk through a metal detector with this right now, you would not be detected.
In 2013, self-proclaimed crypto-anarchist Cody Wilson invented this 3D printed gun, meant to make firearms more accessible. The 5-year legal battle over the release of its blueprints ended this June when the Trump administration settled the case. That would have allowed Wilson's company to start publishing again, plans for everything from a pistol to an AR-15.
Washington has failed us.
New Jersey was one of the states that won today's injunction.
These are guns that can be downloaded for destruction by anyone. Fugitives, felons, terrorists, domestic violence offenders, juveniles, the mentally unstable.
The problem, though, even with the federal injunction announced today, the plans are already out there, as they have been for a while, available on plenty of other sites.
Just like what we saw with the music industry in the early 2000s, it's very hard to regulate the distribution of digital files on the internet.
Kastner admits they can't close Pandora's box, but they have to try.
This is as much a fight about the future as it is the present. And with the speed and rapid nature of technological advancements, we're very, very concerned about the precedent here.
He says federal lawmakers have to find other ways to regulate 3D printed guns, because as technology improves, the danger will only increase. Stephen D'Souza, CBC News, New York.
And tonight, that 3D gun company has agreed it won't post any new blueprints online until September, while that multi-state lawsuit makes its way through the courts. But as Stephen pointed out, anyone who knew where to look on the internet could have made their own weapons for some 5 years. And the U.S. government admitted as much today.
At least since the year 2013, these CAD files, these computer-assisted design files, have been available online. They've been legal for U.S. citizens to actually download.
The plans may be available, but it costs several $1,000s to buy a 3D printer capable of manufacturing these so-called ghost guns. And you need to have some skill to make them. So many gun advocates argue that if criminals really want a gun, there are easier ways than building one out of plastic.
The reality is it's much easier to go and buy a gun on the streets.
And the durability of 3D printed firearms is questionable. Take a look at this. U.S. law enforcement officials tested plastic guns, and they fell apart after a single round was fired.
The truth is that many times they fail and they break. They're not very durable, and they really don't work.
So experts say it isn't likely there'll be a rush of people trying to make their own guns. Of course, if the plans are online, people around the world could download them, including in Canada. Worth pointing out that here it's illegal to make or possess a firearm without a license, and Ottawa is keeping a close eye on the case in the United States.
What if you could quite literally photocopy a weapon? And it would be usable to cause harm to other people. That is a critical issue that law enforcement and governments are examining around the world.
Canadians who make their own 3D plastic guns face mandatory prison time if they are convicted.